Hi, grade 11 learners. I want to take you through the mechanical assembly drawing, which is one of the modules which we will be doing in detail this year. And we look at the specific drawing that you see here, and the instructions and the illustrations have been given to you. So I want to discuss this with you, and I'm going to sort of make some notes here so that you can follow me. It is important for you to read through this information on your top right hand side. So what is given to you? There are two things, bulleted points, which are given to you. The first one is an exploded isometric drawing. So I'm going to underline the exploded isometric drawing. And that exploded isometric drawing of parts of a pulley assembly. So this entire thing is a pulley assembly showing the positions of each part relative to all the others. So the exploded view refers to this 3D view that you will see here, and it states there the exploded view. What you will find also is that there's an arrow that states front view. We're going to take that into consideration a little bit later in the drawing. But look at this view, which is called the exploded view. You will actually find that there's a center line which runs through every single component. And if you literally take your fingers and you push all of that together, you will find that the drawing has been assembled. But to be able to do that, we will have to draw each component and fit them in perfectly into each other. And that is the skill and the knowledge that you need to attain from these assembly drawings. We're going to our second bulleted point, where it states the orthographic views of each of the parts of the pulley assembly. Now you're going to look at your part list here. And if you look at part number 1, which is right here at the bottom, right, you will find you will have an M24 nut. And there is only one of those. So I'm going to put that M24 nut in a little box like that, so that I can have it there and identify what it is. Then I'm going to look at my component number 2, which is one item is my washer. I'm going to put that washer in a box as well. And you will find that you will have the front view here and the top view there. Right? The front view here, things that you can see from the front, the way you see it from the front, which is basically seen from the view of the arrow, and what it looks like at the top if you view it from the top. And the same thing here with the washer. We go to our component number 3, you will have a pulley. Now the pulley is this component here, and I'm going to put that in a little box right there. This is the front view. Basically, when you look at this exploded view like that, from the direction of my arrow, you're going to see it like this here, and that is my top view. And these are drawn here so that you'll be able to get all the dimensions. Then we look at our fourth component, which is the bush, and that is the bush there. The purpose of the bush is to allow a wider gap to be filled, which basically serves as a spacer. Right? It fills up a little gap there in between a shaft and the hole of the pulley. But you will see how this bush actually fits into the drawing. Then we have the bracket, which is basically, I would say, the starting component, and that bracket is going to be this component number 5, which you see there. This is the front view, which you have there, and that is the top view there. Then you have a grub screw. There's one of those, and the grub screw is going to be that component. It is a screw that has a slot for the screwdriver's tip to fit in, but it has no screw head. Right? Just keep that in mind, and the double lines obviously show the threaded portion. And then finally you will have your shaft, and the shaft is this component here, and I'm going to put that shaft in a box there as well. So if you look at all of these components, there you have your shaft, right? There you have your bracket, there it is. There you have your bush, there it is. There you have your pulley, there it is. There you have your washer, there you have your nut, all seen from the direction of the arrow. You will have your grub screw, which is going to be on the side of your bracket. that screws in on the side of the bracket, and you will see there is the hole indicated by the double lines that you will see there. Now that you understand how the different components actually fit together inside one another, you will look at the different dimensions, and when you are going to draw it, you will see component by component, it fits in like a glove, and you will be able to work out what dimension fits into which section. If you look at the instructions, you need to answer this on page 7, and that blank sheet of paper would be page 7. You start completely on a blank sheet of paper, and you will draw to a scale of 2:1. So this is very important. A scale of 2:1. What does that mean? And it has to be in third angle with a graphic projection. So what does it mean 2:1? 2:1 means that you have to double up all the dimensions that you see here. For example, the 24 dimensions that you will see there will become 48. If you look at the dimension which you see here as a diameter, the diameter there now from the point of the arrows will now become 64. And so you will double up on every single dimension that you will see here. The only dimension that does not double up would be your degrees. So there's no double up on degrees, only length and circle dimensions. So what you can do, however, if you want to have a quick start or you want to really prepare, you can take all the dimensions and just rule a line through it and double up those dimensions immediately. Alternatively, you can, as you progress throughout the drawing, just double up on each of those dimensions, component by component. But you need to ensure that you double up, otherwise things are not going to fit. We continue. You need to draw a sectional front view. So you're only going to draw a front view from the direction of the arrow. And section means that you will have to cut that according to this line here once all components have been assembled. Once all components have been assembled, you will cut. The arrows are on this side, which basically means that this side here will be removed. Right? So what you are going to see is, you are going to see some section lines appearing in some, not all of the components. Some of the components will not take section. Those components which don't take section lines would be, starting from the top, would be your nut, your washer. You will not section the shaft. Those are the three components which will remain unhatched. However, there will be a part section which will appear in your bracket to show the grub screw. And the grub screw, learners, will not be sectioned as well. We continue by saying that all drawings must comply with the guidelines contained in the SANS 10111. That is the standard format of drawings, and you will see that comes out in my drawing, which I will show during this video. Please take note of the following. This is very important. You need to show 3 faces, and that is 1, 2, 3 faces of the M24 nut, which will now become the M48 nut, due to the fact that it's 2.1 scale, and all necessary construction need to be shown, faint lines, center lines, etc. No hidden detail is required during this drawing. And for proper space planning, what we will do is we will start with a center line so that we can align it in one single format, which will be in the center of the page right there, the center line in the proper chain line format. And I am going to start with my bracket, and I'm going to start quite low here, draw my bracket in the center, work halfway that side and halfway this side with my dimensions. Then I will proceed to the next component, which is going to be my shaft. But let me do the first step for you, drawing component number 5, which is my bracket. Watch carefully how the drawing unfolds. learners, you will see that I've completed my bracket and I have hatched it. What does the hatching mean? That I've cut this in half, a line that runs right through there. So I've cut it, and you will find that all my dash lines here, which I have here, will now become solid because I have bisected in half. That's why I have these double lines, which are threaded lines, now being drawn dark. My saw makes contact with this part of the metal. There's a gap here, which is the screw hole, and then, or threaded hole, and that is my metal. Threaded hole again, that's my metal. Threaded hole opening again. Here I am going to fit in my second part and my third part here. My second part being the shaft, which is going to be the head part here and facing up, as it is situated in my exploded view like that, and I'm going to push that up through that hole there. You will see that this size is the same as that hole, and then I'm also going to enter that grub screw on the side. You will find significantly that that part of the grub screw here actually fits perfectly into that little part there, keeping that at bay, keeping it sturdy so that it doesn't fall out. Let's do that now. learners, now I'm going to add my bush, and you will find that my bush is this part over here, and that is going to be on top of this part over there, which I have drawn in here. And I am going to ensure that this shaft is going through this part right there, so that's going to become dark, and you're only going to draw this section over here. So remember, it's times 2 every time up, which is 74. 2 times 37 is 74, and from the top you're going to measure 66 down, so that you can have that part, which is that head part over there, upside down. And then you're going to go 32 on this side and 32 on that side, because 32 times 2, which is going to be 64. So you go both sides of your center line, and then you will find that your bush will develop along this side of your shaft. I've already started, as you can see, there's my head part, and you will find that I work halfway to my left and halfway to my right of my line, doubling up on my measurements. Alright, this is how you engineer. Let's go for it. Now we're going to proceed by launching our pulley through the bush, so that this bush here fits into that gap over there, and the bottom of your pulley will link up with the bottom of the bush. So in other words, that part is going to be in this space that you will see here, in this space here, and tight inside this section over here, which is filled by the bush. So let's put that in there. Just keep in mind, we are going to cut it immediately, like we've cut the bush here in half. It only shows the reverse half on the opposite side. And once you are going to draw this pulley view here, you're going to draw only the outside, and just keep in mind that these dashed lines now will become solid once you cut this part away. That will become solid, that will become solid. You're still going to see these lines slanted to those dashed lines, which will become solid as well. Eventually we're only going to have that hatch, we're only going to have that hatch, we're going to have that hatch. These are going to remain unhatched. These items inside here, these sections here, will be hatched as well. Just see how the drawing unfolds when I do draw it and cut it.
Yeah.
here you will find that I've cut that section there because that part is being cut. This part here would be the spokes that you will see, which we don't cut. That part makes contact with the bush and the shaft, so that part will be cut as well, so it's hatched. And then this is the return on the opposite side behind this shaft. All I have to do is to add my washer, which is going to be situated right there, and then on top of my washer I'm going to do my bolt, and that's a very important explanation because I will have to do an auxiliary view right here and project it down. Watch carefully how that is done.